You don't carry your old behavior into the next state. Don't be complacent and don't shame yourself into pushing yourself hard. There's a stage where you start preparing for something bigger. And I think this is probably that stage. What's everybody do? What's up, everybody? My name is Peter. I'm a mindset coach. I help people with limiting beliefs that lead to anxiety and self-sabotage. Welcome to my channel. The purpose of this channel is for me to be able to have a place where I can get my thoughts out. I love to share the things that I'm learning, share the things that I'm teaching to my clients. If I notice a topic that I teach every single time to every single client, then I try and teach it here. I want you to know that just because you're not where you want to be yet doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. Maybe you are, but for those who are really striving, those who are pushing, those who are trying to be their best, I want you to know that you're doing okay. I was talking to my dad about this the other day, and he said something that kind of hit me. He said, a caterpillar is not broken because it hasn't become a butterfly yet. A caterpillar isn't broken because it's a caterpillar still. The caterpillar isn't failing. It's in just the right place, just the right stage of development. And I think that that's something that I forget. It's something that a lot of people forget, especially for people who are driven. We tend to think, if I'm not flying, something's got to be wrong with me. But no, maybe you're just in the caterpillar phase. I'm in the caterpillar phase. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get biological for just a second. This is crazy. But when a caterpillar goes into its cocoon, it doesn't just go in as a caterpillar and grow wings onto that caterpillar. It literally dissolves into mush. The old identity breaks down entirely. And then out of that genetic soup, a butterfly comes out, okay? A butterfly and a caterpillar, from a biological standpoint, aren't the same animal. They're not the same bug. They don't eat the same things. They don't do the same things. A caterpillar goes around eating leaves and cannot fly. A butterfly flies around and has a totally different face so that it can pollinate. Migration patterns. It has totally different everything. This is the key. The caterpillar has to die for the butterfly to exist. Can I draw a caterpillar here? Got his little face over here. I wish I could draw a butterfly. Who knows how to draw a butterfly? I'm not even recording. You get it. You get it. The caterpillar has to die for the butterfly to even exist. You don't carry your old behavior into the next stage. One of my favorite quotes says, in order to be able to change, you need to start thinking greater than you already are. You cannot carry old mindsets into a new identity. If you try to hold on to the caterpillar while becoming the butterfly, you're going to get stuck. And I think that's what happens to most people while they're trying to transform. They're trying to transform without letting go. I don't know how to draw a cocoon, but here's a cocoon. Most people avoid the cocoon. Most people avoid the hard part. Most people avoid the section where they have to let go of the caterpillar so that they can go into a difficult stage and grow. A lot of people think, oh, refiner's fire. For a caterpillar, the cocoon is the refiner's fire. And most people, they start going through some kind of refiner's fire and they're like, I don't like this, I'm going back. But I want you to know that no, being in the caterpillar stage is not bad. It's necessary. Something that I realized earlier today is that comparison can be the thief of joy, but comparison can also be inspiring. And it's up to you to decide which one it is. But if you're constantly comparing yourself to people who are already flying, you're going to feel like a failure even when you're on track. And I think that's one of the things that creates shame. Shame says, I should be a butterfly by now. I should be further by now. But biology of a butterfly says this is exactly the phase that you're supposed to be in. So I want you to be patient with yourself. Because here's the trap. A lot of people will hear this and say, okay, well, cool, complacency. I guess I'm a caterpillar and this is just who I am. And they stay stuck for years. They don't even try. They don't go and they don't eat the leaves. They don't do the things necessary to go through the refiner's fire or the cocoon so that they can become a butterfly and they die a caterpillar. That's not the point. What I'm trying to say is it's okay to be at the stage that you're in and acknowledge what stage you're in, but don't cling to the caterpillar stage. Just because you're content being a caterpillar doesn't mean that the caterpillar is your full potential. So do your best to start building the cocoon and start letting go of your old identity. And sometimes that might mean some behaviors need to die and you need to let them die. It might mean letting your ego die. It might mean letting go of how you've always seen yourself, your self-talk. So here's the bottom line. If you're not supposed to fly yet, cool. But don't keep eating leaves forever. Start building your cocoon. Start doing something. There's a stage where you start preparing for something bigger. And I think this is probably that stage. That stage doesn't need to come from guilt or pressure. It comes from permission. One of the things I tell my clients all the time is, do you have permission to move on? Do you have permission to let this go? Permission to yourself is actually really important. Permission comes from seeing this season for what it is, which is just a stage, right? Just a caterpillar stage, seeing the season for what it is and being willing to move on when it's time. Transformation isn't about forcing yourself to grow. It's about allowing the old self to fall away so that a new self can emerge. This is something that my dad told me. He said, a blossom falls off the tree right when the fruit is ready to grow. You don't go and rip it off. My dad loves to plant fruit trees, and so if we went up to an apricot tree in early spring, right when it starts blossoming, those petals falling off is a step in the progression of the tree in creating fruit. But if you went and you tried to fast forward the process by ripping off all of the leaves, that apricot tree isn't going to produce fruit faster. The leaves are there for a purpose. They have a reason, and once they've fulfilled their purpose, then they can fall away. And so sometimes you go through something really hard, and a lot of people say, I don't like who I used to be. You don't need to have shame about who you used to be. It was just a stage you were in. You don't need to force yourself as hard as you can into building a cocoon. If you went to a caterpillar and you picked up its little body and you put it inside of a sock and you said, wrap up, here's some duct tape, this is your cocoon, it's not going to make a butterfly emerge faster. So again, you don't rip off the blossoms. They just drop when they've served their purpose. And it's the same thing with you. Let the old self go without shame, without frustration, and let your new self emerge without guilt, and trust the process. You're not broken. I've been really pushing myself to grow, really trying to get myself to grow fast in a lot of ways, especially a business way. I want to be able to help more people all at once. And sometimes I do shame myself for not growing as fast as I'd like to. But allowing myself to just be while still striving for more has actually been one of the best things that I've ever done for myself. And so just the takeaway, don't be complacent and don't shame yourself into pushing yourself harder. Stay right here in the middle and recognize, I'm just going to flow with it. I'm going to move as nature moves, and I'm not going to stress. If I'm trying to grow because the ego says you need to grow or you're behind, chill out. If you say, I need to stay where I'm at because that's comfortable for the ego, again, starve the ego, let the ego die. Anyway, kind of a short video. I hope it helped. I hope it opened up your eyes to a couple of different things. I'm going to call this series maybe Lessons from My Dad, Lessons from Pops. If you feel like you want one-on-one help for specific application for a problem or a limiting belief that you're trying to work through, feel free to click on the link in the description and I'm happy to help you out.